I'm always like, is there a funny way to open a market update?
Another one.
Exactly.
DJ Khaled.
Another one.
You're the best at market updates.
Exactly. There we go.
Done.
Welcome back. We are here today with a market update, and these have become a staple in our monthly repertoire because things are just changing so much.
Yeah, a lot.
And it's like, I mean, I look back on the last like 3 or so market updates that we've done, and I feel like, you know, the common thread through all of them is, of course, interest rates.
It's like a dirty word at this point.
It is. It should be a 4-letter word.
Like Voldemort.
Yes. That
Interest
thing
rates,
that shall not be named.
Yes, interest rates are the Voldemort of our industry at this moment.
Yes, yeah.
And if you don't like Harry Potter, then I don't know what is wrong with you.
You're missing something in your life.
Really missing out.
Market update. Things are just so inconsistent. We were just talking about it. It's like trying to find the mosquito, and it's like going all over the place, and it's like here and up here and down there, and you think you've got it and then you don't.
Yeah. No rhyme or reason.
No.
We're like, what is going on?
And, you know, as human beings, I think we like to have answers and like to have like some reliability and consistency in things,
Right.
whether they're going up or they're going down. It's just, it's not fun when it's like this and all over the place and it's like
Chaotic.
question mark. Yeah.
Ding.
So before we get into it, we almost skipped this part.
Yeah, always.
Who are you?
Oh, I'm Sammy Randazzo. Hey.
And I'm Lindsay Allen, and we are your favorite North Idaho real estate agents, bringing you the news and the information about the North Idaho market, and also lots of amazing, awesome things about our community. Today, though, is the market update, and one thing we can say for sure is we don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, we do know what's going on, but like we can't predict.
We don't know what will happen next.
Yes.
We know what's currently happening.
Yes.
We can't tell you what's going to happen next quarter, next week, tomorrow.
Yes.
We don't know.
Yes.
And I think that there's so many people, you know, and like experts in our industry and like industry leaders that are really, they're trying so hard to like dissect what has happened and produce maybe a prediction, but there's so much just like conflicting opinions, I feel like, that are going on right now in the industry. And it's like almost overwhelming to try to sift through all of these different like market updates and predictions for the new year and you know, XYZ, and you know, we follow and pay attention to these trends and you know, these economists who, you know, this is their job to kind of figure out market predictions, and they are like, we don't really know, unfortunately. So we're kind of just like here to let you guys know what might happen. And
I think one thing that's really tough right now when things are so volatile, like any sort of prediction that could be made is really short-lived. You know, we can't, when things are moving so crazily, we can't predict, you know, what will happen next quarter or next summer or a year from now. We can hope and we could say, here's a possibility, but that possibility is just as good as the next.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's kind of like the toss of a coin sometimes. But what we do know in the facts, because we like to deal in facts and reality with the people that we work with and our audience here, as you know, the facts are, first and foremost, inventory is still low. It's still historically low. It's like lower than it was last year, actually. When we look at the October stats, because everything's a lagging indicator, you know, obviously once the month of October is over, into the beginning of November, we finally get October stats. So we're dealing with October stats. for this conversation, our inventory for October, as of the day that all the stats were pulled, is lower than it was a year ago. And we were already having inventory issues a year ago. And so, we're still seeing a shortage. And we'll kind of get into some of the reasons why inventory is low. But I was on a market update with our local Loan Depot mortgage expert. Shout out Keith Pitch, KP Moneyman.
KP Moneyman, what's up?
Yes, at Loan Depot. And Darcy Hardy, an EXP agent in the Seattle area, said, and I thought it was so brilliant, so we're stealing it. Thank you, Darcy. It is a seller's market disguised as a buyer's market. Yeah. And the reason I feel like that's so brilliant is, on paper, everything is a seller's market. We have less than 6 months of inventory in a lot of areas. It's like 2 months of inventory. We kind of popped up to 4 months, and now we're kind of scooting back down. Yes, that's seasonal because we're coming into winter, which is what we normally see. Yeah. We're on the tail end of the bell curve for the year, but it's still lower than normal inventory. Even though it's a seller's market, prices have been pretty stable, steady. We're still seeing buyers getting away with asking for some really fabulous concessions from sellers. Buyers have the ability to negotiate. Homes are sitting on the market longer. So again, even though for all intents and purposes, it should be a seller's market, it's masquerading as a buyer's market right now. And I think even the consumer is out there operating under that premise as well. We know that the buyers we've been working with, yes, they're rate sensitive, but there's also like kind of a lack of urgency for buyers.
Everyone's kind of like, we're just going to kind of see what happens. And, we're not going to rush to put an offer in because things are now sitting longer than they did, obviously, 18 months ago. Yeah. And so people are like, oh, well, we'll just kind of wait and see if they'll drop the price or if they'll offer XYZ. So it's almost like, I feel like our buyers and our sellers are almost playing this like weird game of chicken. Like, I don't know if you can, like, that's
Absolutely.
like the sense that I'm getting. It's almost like, well, who's going to like budge first?
Yeah, who's going to
Because our buyers are absolutely right. They're not in like a hurry for whatever reason. No one's in a rush. I think that kind of comes with the season though. Yeah. And then our sellers, kind of same thing, aren't really in a rush to get out of here. Yeah. And so they're almost just like playing this weird like game of chicken. And it's like, well, we liked the place, but we're gonna hold off, and then they'll check back. Maybe they're gonna drop the price. Maybe they'll offer X, Y, and Z. And so it's just kind of been an interesting, like almost like psychological battle between our buyers and our sellers, because buyers are finally getting a little bit of their power back that they didn't have the last 2 years, and then sellers are still able to list at substantially higher than what I'm assuming they bought, depending on how long it's been. Yep. And so everyone is almost like kind of feeling the power, and it's like a little power struggle, I feel like, going on.
It's like a cold war between buyers and sellers. Yeah. And at some point in time, things will heat back up. And that is one thing I think everyone can agree on, is eventually it's going to heat back up. Interest rates are going to kind of slow down or cool off because inflation, and that's another thing that we're seeing. Interest rates saw a dip last week. So they've been pushing up above 7. The Fed met, and we thought that maybe they were going to get pushed up again. But then some inflation indicators came out about a week or so ago, and it was a lot more favorable than they had anticipated. So mortgage providers were like, okay, well, maybe we could kind of cool things off a little bit. Let's kind of pull this down below 7. And so they've been hovering kind of in that like mid to high 6s for the last 7 to 10 days or so. And that's been very favorable. So of course, we're on the phone with our buyer clients and we're like, hey, they've dropped, because
Yeah.
this is the biggest drop. Actually, let me quote this. This is the biggest drop that we've seen from one rate to the next in decades, actually. And although it doesn't seem that big because we came from 2%,
Right.
the drop from 7.5 to 6.75, 6.5, that drop was actually one of the biggest drops we've seen. So of course we're on the phone with our
Right.
clients, we're letting them know, don't miss this window, because really what we've been seeing for the past 6 months has been uptick, and people are getting priced out on things. So it's like, hey, the minute we see things float down, let's
get in there.
Let's be cognizant of that. Let's get in there. Let's start making a move, especially if we've been sitting on the fence. Now's the time, because again, we don't have a crystal ball and we don't know what's going to happen with rates. Now, would I love for rates to just kind of sit here for a little bit and maybe even float down a little bit as we kind of go through the winter? Absolutely.
Right.
But we don't know what's going to happen. So interest rates saw a dip last week. Inflation figures saw what looks like stabilization, which was the incentive to kind of lower the rates. So those things are all good. But that's also could potentially be temporary. And I'm not a big fear monger person. I'm not like, oh my God, you got to get out, you got to do this right now. But also at the same time, we have just kind of been acclimated to watching these rates go up. And
When you see a big drop like that,
you're like,
you're kind of like, oh, well, maybe
please,
this is the time. Yeah.
should we lock it in? Especially
Yeah.
if you're sensitive to rates.
Yeah.
So those are the things that are happening. We don't know what's going to happen in 3 months, 6 months from now, a year from now, in terms of inflation. I still am a little skeptical, because for me, what we know is inflation has also been a result of a lot of money being put into the markets, a lot of rebates and refunds going back to consumers from the states that they live in, PPP money, ARPA funds, a lot of money that came from the government during the pandemic flowing into hands of consumers.
Right.
And here in Idaho, at least, I know that we are just starting to kind of dole out some of our funds that we got from COVID, $50 million towards workforce housing, like $1 billion or something going back to taxpayers as a refund outside of your normal refund for your tax year.
Yeah.
So it's just putting more money and more liquidity back into people's hands. I don't know if that, and again, I'm not an economist at all, but I would have to think that that'll just kind of prolong some of this, because people are going to have a little bit extra cash on hand. So the other thing we're seeing is prices are still kind of cooling off.
Yeah, we're seeing about like 1 to 2% over the month.
Yep,
Yeah,
month
so
to
month to
month.
month, about 1 to 2% price cooling, which again, I think kind of necessary still to where we're at.
Yeah.
So, still, again, it's still a seller's market. Like 1% is like nothing crazy, but it's still consistent, right? Over the month. So, just really kind of seeing the effects of the interest rates.
You're not supposed to say
sorry.
that word, those words.
The word that shall not be named.
Yes. But the funny thing is, again, the seller's market masquerading as a buyer's market, we're still seeing at this point a 15% growth of year over year. So from October 2021 to October 2022, we saw the median home sale price have a 15% gain. But from September to October 2022, we saw that decrease. So it's kind of like, here's where we were last year, and eventually those will kind of converge a little bit or get closer, that month over month and that year over year. Predictions again in terms of what we might see from 2022 to 2023 is, instead of that 15% gain from last year to this year, from this year to next year, we might see 3 to 5%. But guess what? That is
healthy,
normal. That is normal, and that's where we should be. That's what we've seen here, and I mean even across the nation.
Right.
Those are normal, healthy year over year growth rates.
Yeah.
So we will see a cooling down, but we're still seeing growth year over year, which is a very positive thing.
I think that just kind of, again, gets into like the psyche when you're conditioned over, 2 years of being like, oh, well, it's been 15% increase, 30%, which is like, that's not sustainable, obviously, because here we are, right? Yep. But, when you're conditioned to be like 20% average, equity increase year over year, like that's crazy.
Yeah.
So
it's kind
getting
of
back into that.
Disgusting.
Yeah. we want to go back to like normal numbers, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just that when you're on the seller side, understanding that 15% is still crazy high. That's what almost 3 to 5 times higher than your normal growth rate. So that kind of shifts into when you're on the buyer side, you're seeing now more concessions from your sellers, which is like a great, thing to have in your corner.
Yes. There's like 5 reasons typically that people,
Yeah.
regardless of the market, what's ever happening in the market, people still need to move. They need to downsize.
Right. Oh, there you go.
They need to, maybe they maybe they graduate from college, or they're changing jobs, or they've had children, they need more space, or, divorce and they need to sell the house, or someone passed away and they need, the family, the kids inherit the house and they've got to move the estate. So there's always reasons, and those are always going to exist. So we're always going to see, probably somewhere between 4 to 4.5 million homes selling every single year, just because.
Yeah.
But then we, throw on an extra 500,000 to 1 million more in sales because of people that want to,
right?
Not necessarily that need to sell or move or relocate or whatever that might be. So, like Sammy said, right now we are seeing, just from a buyer's standpoint, we're seeing some of the best concessions for buyers in any real estate market than we've probably seen since like 2010.
Yeah.
We're seeing seller credits for rate buy downs. We're seeing sellers making concessions for repairs or credits for repairs. We're seeing great negotiation power for buyers up front and during inspections. Buyers are keeping their inspections.
Yes.
No more waiving of appraisal contingencies.
Right.
There's just so much power that's coming back to buyers that hasn't existed in a really long time. And I will tell you too that, you look back at 2016, 17, 18 and the run up to some of this stuff, we weren't even seeing those types of concessions for buyers, or our sellers weren't even contemplating the breadth of exceptions and concessions for the buyers of their homes.
Yeah.
In those days, and that was a healthy market too. So these concessions that are happening right now are kind of, once in a 10, 15 year real estate cycle type of concessions. Yeah. And when we talk about, everyone's so interest rate sensitive. Well, when rates are high, prices have to come down. Yep. But when rates are high, there's also less competition for buyers. And so you're not getting in the bidding wars and paying 30, 50, 100 grand over. So yeah, maybe you had the 3%, the 3.5% interest rate, but you paid 100 grand over.
Right.
Instead of
grand scheme of things.
Instead of an $800,000 house, it was a $900,000 house. So your loan amount is much larger. Your down payment is much larger. Your cash out of pocket is much greater. Your concessions were zero back then.
Yeah.
And so, you kind of look at it on a, like a teeter-totter.
Right.
How do we balance this out?
Yeah.
And even though rates are high, it's still a very fascinating market out there. And again, nearly every seller becomes a buyer as well. So for sellers who are worried about, how do I move into the next thing, what am I giving up? Well, you're also gaining on the flip side of things as well.
Absolutely.
So we're trying to keep people apprised of that. And the one last thing.
Yeah, last thing that we're kind of seeing trending, just builders are kind of holding off on producing, a bunch of spec homes because the need was so like
Great.
we need so many quickly, right? So they're
And we
just
still
building.
do.
Yeah, absolutely.
We still do,
absolutely. But they're kind of holding off a little bit on, these spec homes and, allowing our buyers to have a little bit more say and personalizations of these new builds.
Exactly.
More options. And the last time that we kind of saw that was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Builders have really, like, the number of permits that are being put in have plummeted. The cost of materials, obviously we've had shortages with appliances and labor shortages and stuff like that. The cost of labor, the cost of materials, all of that's gone up. Most builders finance their inventory to a certain extent, so the carrying costs eating into profits. They don't want to get, inundated holding 20 spec homes that are costing them 7+% in carrying costs if they don't need to. So they're really kind of pulling back to what we saw 3 years ago, where it was like, oh, come pick your plan, pick your lot, personalize it, customize it, because they want that contract of a for sure build and a for sure buyer that's going to meet them at the close table versus putting a bunch of specs out there and carrying them for 6 to 7 months, if not more. And we're also seeing some builders taking their inventory and making them rentals right now. So these are just some of the things that are happening. Again, we're dealing with facts here. We're dealing with reality here. We're trying not to fearmonger. We're trying to give you just the information straight. Right now, again, it's super hard to make any sort of prediction about what we'll see in 3, 6, 9, 12 months. But what we know, if you're in this market right now, it is a unique set of circumstances. If you are a buyer or seller and you're looking to be active, and you're wanting to figure out how you could take advantage of some of these, some of the strange times that we're in, give us a call, shoot us an email, shoot us a text. We get calls from you guys and emails all the time. Hey, I've got a particular situation. Should I buy or sell right now? I have a particular type of loan I'm looking into using. What should we do? How should we tackle this? What are the things that we should be aware of? We love having those conversations. So reach out to us. Everyone's situation is unique.
Absolutely.
And we are here to curate your personal experience and your personal scenario for your home buying or selling process. So thank you for joining us as always, and we will be here next week with another video.
Bye.